Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, a pair of Pokemon that really are a pair of Pokemon in a very deliberate sense of the word. These are a pair of Pokemon, and trying to look at them in separate videos would be, frankly, a little bit silly. So let's have a look at Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, shall we? As always, well, as it has been lately, huge shout out to the lovely David Hockman over at limitlesstcg.com/translations for cluing us in on what these cards are and what these cards do. Now, starting off with the basics here, we can see that they are very, very similar. They've both got 120 HP, which for a basic Pokemon's pretty good. It's not as high as your Buzzwole, but it is still higher than some of the other bigger basics like Zapdos, so we're totally okay with it. Retreat cost of 1 is quite nice because you can use U-turn board for a bit of the old free retreat. And resistance to Psychic is slightly annoying with Mewtwo and Mew still being one of the very best decks in the format. But you've only got 120 HP, you only give up one prize, so it's slightly upsetting, but I think we can live with it and get around it. But you are fighting Pokemon, and fighting Pokemon is great. Fighting Pokemon means Diancie Prism Star to do a little bit of extra damage. It means Martial Arts Dojo to do an extra damage if you've got basic fighting attached, which you probably will a lot of the time. It means you're hitting weakness against that Silvally GX deck, which is, or card at least, which is still pretty gosh darned good. It's a pretty good time to be a fighting Pokemon, and I didn't even mention Karate Belt here, that if you're behind on prizes will reduce your attack cost by 1. Like I said, good time to be a fighting Pokemon. But what do they do? Well, if we start off with a bit of the old Hitmonchan, the first attack is the one we're really worried about. Cooperation Beat. 20 damage base. If you have Hitmonlee on your bench, this attack does 20 more damage. So you're talking 40 damage for a single fighting energy. Well, hang on a second. Doesn't Stonjourner do 40 damage for a single fighting energy? And doesn't it also stop your opponent doing 20 damage next turn? Or, to put it simply, reduce damage by 20 next turn. And doesn't it have 100 more HP? Yeah. But it also gives up one more prize. And has a much more annoying retreat cost. And a different weakness, incidentally. So, I'm not saying don't ever play Stonjourner. I'm saying that Hitmonchan will do quite nicely. And really here, it is the extra tricks that fighting Pokemon have that make this Hitmonchan so much fun for me. Because generally speaking, you're hitting 40 damage, which is enough to get a Ditto Prism Star, though to be fair, Ditto Prism Star is weak, so you don't even need Hitmonlee on the bench. But then you add Diancie Prism Star, you're up to 60, and you're getting stuff like Inkay, for instance, which is quite nice, but you're still 10 damage short of some of those evolving Pokemon like Poipole. But you're using basic fighting energy. So in comes Martial Arts Dojo. And that's what I like so much about Hitmonchan. Of all 4 attacks on the 2 of these Pokemon, this is for my money the best of them. Because what it does is it wrecks evolving Pokemon. And if you go second, you have a chance to attack before your opponent has a chance to evolve, unless they're playing around with something like Duskstone that breaks the rules of evolution and lets them evolve up faster than they should be able to. Oh look, you see how that worked? It's really, really good for taking out evolving Pokemon. It's wonderful. It's an early game Pokemon, and look, time you get to the mid to late game, you're probably not going to be hitting all that much damage. But if you go first or second, doesn't really matter, you're always going to have an attack before your opponent gets a chance to evolve. And you can just be sitting there picking apart your opponent's Pokemon. Now you can go further if you go behind on prizes, and Miss Magius will help you go behind on prizes incidentally, and you can use Duskstone to get it going straight away. Then all of a sudden you're doing 40 base, plus 20 for Diancie Prism Star is 60, plus 40 for Martial Arts Dojo is 100, and you can even play Vitality Band and go up to 110 here. just a new tool that does an extra 10 damage, and even something like Silvally GX or Snorlax V is going down in a single hit to a single prize, single energy basic Pokemon. Yeah, that's pretty tasty. Now the other attack is not as good. 2 fighting energy, 60 damage. However, you can take the mick with this a little bit. I've always loved fighting Pokemon. Fighting Pokemon have always been my jam in the Pokemon TCG. They are what I generally tend to play. I love me some fighting Pokemon. But right now, the combination of Karate Bout, Martial Arts Dojo, Diancie Prism Star, and Vitality Band, which to be fair, Vitality Band is for any Pokemon. If you are behind on prizes, you do an extra 70 damage. And with Dustone and Mismagius, you can go behind on prizes from your first turn. And now all of a sudden, this isn't doing 60, it's doing 130. Which is getting an awful lot of non-GX Pokemon. It's 2-hit KOing any GX, and will even get a bit of the way to 2-hit KOing a lot of Tag Team GXs, and will be 2-hit KOing Pokemon V, though not always Pokemon V Max. It adds up quickly. If your opponent chucks down a Raichu and a Alolan Raichu, 260 HP, weakness to fighting, gives up free prizes, you get a KO in one hit. I don't think this is the best use for it. I still think it's a little bit risky to be giving up a prize, etc. I think this is for taking out evolving Pokemon early in the game, but it's an option. Moving over to Hitmonlee, we have a fairly boring attack, 2 colorless energy, 40 damage. It's not good enough. If you want to do 40 damage, Hitmonchan for 1 fighting energy with Hitmonlee on the bench. But then we get to the better attack. 2 fighting, 1 colorless energy, 80 damage. Underwhelming. If you have Hitmonchan on your bench, this attack does 80 more damage. Oh. Yeah, 160 for free energy is pretty good. Now, I've been getting excited about Regirock V that for the same attack cost does 190. But again, we're talking about a 2-prize Pokemon. Although, to be fair, more HP, so will last around a little bit longer. But then again, you do 30 damage to yourself, so you only end up with 70 more HP. And 160 is good. Remember, I've told you how you can add 70 damage to this. And if you add 70 damage, all of a sudden you're doing 230 damage. That's ridiculous. Now, if you're against a Snorlax V Max, you're naturally doing 160, double with weakness, 320. So literally a Martial Arts Dojo will get a 1-hit KO on Snorlax V Max. That's a little bit silly dumb. But 230 will KO a lot. 230 will get the majority of GXs. Look at commonly played ones like Keldeo, for instance. That's going down. Blacephalon's going down. Naganadel is going down. They're all going down. This is GX KOing territory here. Now, unfortunately, tag teams start at 240, although to be fair, Pikachu and Zekrom's weak and Gengar and Mimikyu resist you, so it's kind of a moot point. But you're not getting tag teams, even with the extra 70 damage and then the extra 80 for having Hitmonchan on the bench. You're only doing 230. But that will get every Pokemon V so far revealed. Even your super beefy Zamazenta V coming in with 230 HP will be going down in a single hit here. And then your 2-hit KOing everything else. Now, in terms of the energy, we got Karate Belt. The third energy is a bit more awkward. I'm kind of a fan of mucking about with Tapu Koko Prism Star. It accelerates 2 lightning energy from your discard to your bench, 1 to each of 2. So that works out quite nicely, and that could be the third energy. Or you can just attach manually, or you can use anything you like. Welder, Malamar, it's getting a bit awkward. There's no really great way to accelerate fighting energy. We do have the Groudon from Cosmic Eclipse, but even that's not really doing what we would like it to be doing. It's not terrible, but it's not exactly perfect. But my point is that, okay, both of these Pokemon have got a fairly rubbish vanilla attack, but they've both got attacks that hit the numbers. And that's the point here. It is all about hitting the numbers. Hitmonchan comes along and takes out evolving Pokemon really easily. Hitmonlee comes along and takes out Pokemon GX, Pokemon V, anything that's weak, and it's only tag teams and VMAX that aren't weak with which you'll have any problems whatsoever. There is a lot to like about this pair of Pokemon. And yeah, you could get a little bit upset that they do have to be played as a pair, and we could worry about the fact that they take up 2 bench spaces, etc. All valid concerns, ladies and gentlemen. But it doesn't really matter, because there's so much to like about this. And also, as a side note, in pre-releases, if you get the pair of these, they are going to be absolute beasts. They're going to be great. So let's give the pair of them between 3 and 4 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies, that would be barbaric. Lots to like, and I like them. But I'd like to know if you like them, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.